All right, everybody, welcome back for another deep dive.
Yeah.
Today we're tackling something that I think is super relevant to pretty much everyone listening.
Yeah.
And that is how to save money. And to do that, we found this really interesting list of 21 things you should never waste money on. And
I love those lists.
they're really eye-opening.
Sounding helpful.
Yeah, and practical.
Yeah. So I'm excited to jump in. And just as a reminder to everyone, this isn't about being cheap or depriving yourself. It's about being smart with your money.
Right.
And freeing up those resources to spend on things that really matter to you.
Absolutely, yeah. Prioritizing.
Yeah. Okay, so let's dive right in. One of the first things that caught my eye on this list is extended warranties.
Oh, yeah.
I'll admit, sometimes I get sucked into those, thinking, I'm getting extra protection. But are they really all they're cracked up to be?
I think that is one of the biggest questions consumers have these days, because they are always presented to you at the moment of purchase when you are excited about this new item and you just want to get out the door with it.
Yeah.
You don't want to have any problems with it. And so you think, oh, this is going to protect me. But really, when you look at it statistically, they are often not a good deal for consumers. A lot of times those extended warranties, the items don't break within that period. And also, there are a lot of credit cards now that offer additional purchase protection. So it can kind of be a waste of money.
Yeah. So what would you recommend instead of, springing for that extended warranty? What's a better approach?
I'm a big fan of self-insuring.
Okay.
So that basically means take the amount of money that they're asking for that extended warranty.
Right.
And set it aside yourself. And then if something does happen, you have that money already there. You're not having to file a claim, hope that it's covered, hope that it's approved. All of that.
You're in control.
You're in control.
Yeah.
And statistically, you're probably going to come out of it. That makes a lot of sense. Okay, what about brand name medications?
Oh, yeah.
Versus generics? That's always a big debate.
That's a big one. Those pharmaceutical companies, they spend so much money on advertising and marketing.
Yeah.
And a lot of times that gets passed on to the consumer.
Right, so we end up paying more.
You end up paying more.
For that brand name recognition.
Yeah.
I know. Generics often have the same active ingredients.
Yeah.
But they can be so much cheaper, I guess.
Ah.
My question is, are there ever times when the brand name might be worth that extra cost?
Yeah.
Like maybe it's been around longer or it has more research behind it.
It's a good question, and I think it's always a good idea to talk to your doctor about it. There might be specific instances.
Right.
Or reasons why a doctor might recommend the brand name. But I think in most cases, generics are just as effective. And it's always worth having that conversation with your physician.
Yeah, so don't be afraid to ask those questions.
Exactly.
And don't just automatically assume you have to go for the big name brand. Because this next one hit me right in the feels. It's things we buy, but rarely, if ever, use. I'm looking at you, bread maker.
Yes.
I swore I would use every week. What is with that?
It's the aspirational purchase.
Yeah.
Right? Like, we think we are going to become that person that bakes their own bread every week or uses that, fancy kitchen gadget.
Right.
But reality often differs.
Yeah. Why do we fall for that, though? Like, what is the psychology behind that?
It's emotional.
Yeah.
You see this product and you imagine this better, more fulfilled version of yourself.
Right.
But we kind of have to disconnect that fantasy from the reality.
Yeah.
Of our habits.
And our lifestyles.
It's really about asking yourself, will I actually use this, or am I buying into this fantasy of who I want to be?
Exactly. And it's really about aligning your spending with your actual life, not an idealized version of it.
I love that. All right. Another big one that's on this list is bottled water.
Oh, yeah.
I know it's convenient, but is it really worth the cost?
Yeah.
And the environmental impact, that is a big one. Those plastic bottles create a massive amount of waste that ends up in landfills and in our oceans. And then when you look at it financially, bottled water can be hundreds of times more expensive than tap water.
Wow. I mean, hundreds of times more expensive.
Yeah.
That's why. And I thought tap water, like in a lot of places, isn't even as good for you.
A lot of areas, tap water is actually subject to stricter regulations than bottled water.
Really?
Yeah. And then, of course, you can always use a filter if you're concerned about the taste or the quality.
You're really making me rethink my bottled water habit. Like, I'm looking at a reusable water bottle right now. That's looking pretty good.
It's such a simple switch, but it can make a really big difference.
Okay. So we've talked about avoiding these unnecessary purchases.
Yeah.
But what about recurring expenses?
Oh, yeah.
The list mentions things like cable packages or subscriptions we might not be using fully.
Yes, that is a huge area.
Yeah.
Where people can unknowingly waste money. It's easy to sign up for things and then forget about them.
Yeah.
Or not use them fully. And those charges just keep coming out of your account.
Ugh, I'm so guilty of that. Like, I'll sign up for a streaming service to watch one show.
Right.
And then months later, I'm like, wait, I'm still paying for this.
Exactly.
So how do we avoid falling into that trap?
You know, I think it's a really good idea to review your bank statements regularly and look for any recurring charges that you're not fully utilizing or enjoying. And don't be afraid to cancel.
It's like decluttering,
It is.
but for your finances.
It is, yeah. It frees up your resources for things that truly matter to you.
I love that. Okay, this last was a tough one, but so important. Impulse buys.
Oh, yeah.
You know that rush of adding things to your online shopping cart? Sometimes for things you don't even need.
Those marketers, they're good.
I know.
They know how to get us.
They do.
They know how to trigger our emotions
Nice.
and create that sense of urgency.
Right, like, this is a limited time offer.
Yes, don't miss out.
Oh, I know.
Flash sale.
It gets me every time. So how do we break that cycle
Yeah.
and resist those tempting impulse buys?
You know, one strategy that I found to be really effective is implementing a waiting period.
Okay.
So if you see something that you just have to have, give yourself 24 hours to think it over. And a lot of times that urge will pass and you'll realize you didn't really need it.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Yeah.
A cooling off period for your shopping impulses.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh. This deep dive has been packed with so many insights. Do you have any final words of wisdom for our listeners today?
I just want to remind everyone that the goal here isn't deprivation. It's really about empowerment. It's about making conscious choices with our money so that we can free up our resources to pursue the things that really matter to us, whether that is spending time with family, traveling, or pursuing creative endeavors, whatever it is that brings you joy.
Well said. I love that. So everyone listening, take a look at this list of 21 things you should never waste money on, and think about what could you do with the money you save. By making a few smarter choices, the possibilities are endless.
They are